Hello all, myself Prachi Agarwal, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Engineering College in Electronics and Communication Department. Today my topic is oxidation. So in this I will be covering needs of oxidation, oxidation techniques, what are the different methods we are going to use for oxidation, temperature and pressure role in oxidation while performing the oxidation, the things which we need to take care of is, then we have oxide properties and growth kinetics. So oxidation. Oxidation, as the name suggests, it means that something is going to oxidized. So since we are studying this topic oxidation in VLSI technology, that it must be related to our silicon, to our substrate or a wafer. So you all have studied how the wafer has been formed from a single ore and it has been converted into different forms, and then a wafer has been developed. So that basically the wafer looks like this. So this is a silicon wafer. So in oxidation, the oxygen particles are coming over this and it is forming some kind of oxide layer. So this we are going to study in this topic. So this is suppose your silicon wafer and these are your O2 particles. They are coming here and forming the layer. So this layer is basically what? This is SiO2 layer. So this we are going to study. So in one line, oxidation can be explained as the production of SiO2, as I told this, using the thermal growth technique. So thermal growth technique is what technique? As the name, thermal means it is the technique which is related to temperature. Growth means to grow something, and the technique, you all know the method. So the method of growing in a particular temperature is a thermal growth technique. That technique we are going to use in the process of oxidation. So what is the need of oxidation? As we are studying this oxidation, we should know why it is important, what is the need. So first, in the bipolar and MOS transistors, it isolates one device from other. You all know that this is our basic MOS structure. So here you have seen that there is an oxide layer and this is your gate terminal. So this oxide layer is used to isolate this gate terminal, right? So this is the usage, first important usage of oxidation layer in studying different types of components and studying our in our VLSI technology. This oxide layer forms a long-term reliability. Since it is formed, it remains stable there, and it has a long-term reliability means if it is formed here, there will be proper isolation maintained between different terminals, right? Then it acts as a barrier or mask. Mask, you know that the something which is causing some kind of hindrance, some kind of barrier. So here it acts as a barrier or mask against the diffusion of the implantation of impurity dopant in substrate. Suppose your substrate is like this, and now you have covered it with your SiO2 layer. So it is completely covered up now. So there will be no, suppose dopant want to come, some impurities want to come over this. So this is not be possible because this SiO2 layer forms a mask over your substrate. So if you need to add some kind of impurities, so you need to leave some area. Suppose this is you need to leave some area. So here impurities will come and rest of the area will remain isolated with this. Okay, so this is a very good barrier against the diffusion of or some kind of impurities or dopants. Now in MOS devices, it acts as a component. As we have seen, so it acts as a gate terminal. So this is why that is important. Next is it serves as a dielectric isolation between multi-level interconnected layer. So there are several layers. We need to make some kind of isolation or some kind of insulation between these different connections. So if there is a oxide layer, so such kind of insulation can be maintained, or good kind of isolation can be formed. So this is called dielectric isolation, right? Next, now we have seen what is the need of oxidation. Now we should know what are the different techniques of oxidation. So in techniques, there are two techniques basically. So first one is your thermal oxidation, and second technique is your plasma oxidation technique, right? So first is your thermal oxidation technique and second one is the plasma oxidation technique. So in the thermal oxidation technique, as a thermal means the something which is related to the temperature. Oxidation, we all know the thing which is going to make a layer, oxide layer in your substrate or in your wafer, right? So in thermal oxidation is basically, that is another type of oxidation that can further be divided into wet and dry oxidation. So thermal oxidation is of two types, dry oxidation and wet oxidation. So in the wet oxidation, what we have used is, there is a silicon substrate, but silicon substrate is going to react with the oxygen and the water vapor, right, in the wet oxidation. So your equation will be like this. Suppose your Si will react to the water vapor and then you will get your SiO2 layer and then your H2 gas will be released, right? In the dry oxidation, the same process is happening, that we are getting an oxidized layer, but here in dry oxidation, the silicon layer get exposed with the pure oxygen to oxidize the silicon and to produce the more denser and the cleaner oxide layer. Denser means the it is a wider layer, some sort of. So it is Si plus O2, you will get SiO2, right? So these are the important equations. So when it is asked what is oxidation techniques, you should tell thermal oxidation, plasma oxidation are the two techniques which we are going to use for the oxidation purpose. So in thermal oxidation, we have wet oxidation and dry oxidation. In the wet oxidation, we are using oxygen and the water vapor. So the equation will be like this: Si plus H2O, it will give SiO2 and then H2. And in the dry oxidation, we are using the pure oxygen. Pure form of oxygen is used to oxidize the silicon, right? And that is Si plus O2, it will give SiO2. So here I have shown with some, you can say, the difference. So in wet oxidation, when oxidizing atmosphere contains water vapor, it contains water vapor, right? So, and that is around 900 to 1000 degrees Celsius. So this is called wet oxidation. So equation is like this: Si is silicon plus H2O, it will give SiO2 and H2. So this two we have used for balancing, and these are the basic products. Then this particular wet oxidation is used to grow thick oxide layer, and that can be used for filled oxide layer. Thick means the layer which have around, you can say that 7 nanometer length. So that type of layer is used, that type of layer is called thick oxide layer. And in this dry oxidation, what we are using is, when oxidizing atmosphere contains oxygen and temperature is around 1200 degrees Celsius. We are using some higher temperature from the wet oxidation, and in this the Si plus O2 will give you SiO2. This particular technique is used to develop the thin oxide layer. See, thick and thin as a concept. Thin is the 3 nanometer something, you can say, the size of the layer. But such kind of thin oxide layers are currently being used because we are developing a smaller ICs. We are using smaller size ICs. So such type of thin oxides we are preferring, right? So in the thermal oxidation, we have covered wet oxidation and the dry oxidation. I think this is clear to you. So this is somehow looks like this. This is your silicon substrate, right? This is your silicon substrate, and I have shown that this is SiO2 layer. So when your reaction and your oxidation element come here, so some layer will form like this. Okay, so this is your SiO2 layer. So in actual phase, this layer will be looks like this. This is your silicon substrate, and above it there SiO2 layer. So we will see that some part of this oxide, this silicon oxide or the oxide layer, is inside the silicon substrate. So this part is around, you can say 46% part is inside the silicon substrate and rest of the part remain open. So we are seeing that silicon oxide layer is getting trapped inside your silicon substrate, right? So this is your thermal oxidation. We have seen that how the oxide layer has formed, and after the formation some of the part around 46% get inside your pierces inside your silicon substrate, right? So this is all about this you can say thermal oxidation. Then we have plasma oxidation. So in the plasma oxidation is a process that produces thin. So we are requiring thin sheets, we are requiring thin oxides. So such type of oxidation is used in producing thin and uniform layer, and that is produced at low temperatures. So this particular type of oxidation is used at low temperatures, and temperature that is around, you can say 300 degrees Celsius. In the previous one we have seen the temperature rises up to 1000 and 1200 degrees Celsius, but this plasma oxidation works and this particular temperature control, that is around 300 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I think this is clear to you, both the techniques, thermal oxidation and the plasma oxidation. Then we have another topic, that is temperature and pressure in oxidation. See, in the oxidation process what happens is your layer gets depart from your original location and it gets trapped inside your silicon. So such type of oxidation we need to carry it out in a low temperature. Otherwise in high temperature such trapping will happens and your all the oxide layer will trapped inside your silicon substrate. So we need to perform such actions, such oxidations under the you can say the lower temperature. So when we use the low temperature, suppose the temperature is, you can say, low, so this will increase the growth rate. So we need certain thing that we are wanting the temperature should be low to develop our thin oxide, but this temperature should be low up to a particular limit. It should not like it is dropping down and we are getting a good growth and your particular the growth time is getting increased, right? So we do not want such thing. So that is why we are using the pressure, and pressure is increased, right? So when we are increasing the pressure, the temperature will go down, and we need to increase this pressure. If suppose you see that at around 1 atmospheric pressure, it will giving a decrease of 20 degrees Celsius. So if we increase the pressure by 1 atm, 1 atmospheric pressure, right? So it will decrease your temperature with around 20 degrees Celsius. So this is how we need to take care of the temperature and pressure of the oxidation. So I have written this: pressure is increased by 1 atm and it will decrease the temperature by 20 degrees Celsius for the same growth rate, right? So thus high pressure oxidation with pressure up to 25 atm are used in the industrial applications at temperature range of 700 to 900 degrees Celsius. So on an average we have used till 25 atmospheric pressure, so that it can maintain that particular range and the temperature should not rise beyond your 700 to 900 degree Celsius. Now another topic is your oxide properties. So in the oxide properties, first very important property is masking property. So masking is the same thing as I told, the some kind of barrier you have formed. Suppose this is your substrate and you have like covered it with some mask. This is your mask of what? Mask of SiO2 layer, right? So this is your silicon substrate and the mask of SiO2. Then when this mask is there will be no impurities can get into this your Si substrate. So there is some area left. So in this you need to add your dopant. You need to add your dopant, right, in this area, and then rest of the area will remain insulated from this impurity. So I think this is clear. So if we form this oxide layer, it has a very good advantage, and this advantage is useful in many processes, many techniques. So that is why we used to oxidize our substrate, right? So then we have oxide charges. So as we have seen the layer, that this is your basic silicon, right? After this you are having some oxide layer which is trapped, some of them is trapped and some is about to trap. Now this oxide layer is somehow looks like this, right? So this is your SiO2 layer, right? So there are different types of charges in these all types of layer. So these charges are fixed oxide charge, mobile ionic charge, oxide trapped charge. So their resemblance are QF, QM and QOT, right? So in this is your basically your silicon substrate. So the charges which are inside this silicon substrate are known as QIT, that is interface trapped charges. Then we have this fixed oxide charge, that is QF. Those who are about to, you can say, go inside your substrate, and the one which are above it, that is silicon oxide, silicon dioxide, and that is, you can say, that oxide trapped charges QOT, right? So we have QIT, QF and QOT, and the one which are free, which are like in the resemblance of ions, they are called QM, right? So what are the different charges? QF, QOT, QM, and one charge that I forgot, that is, you can say, QIT. Right? So these are the charges which we are going to like we have seen in this our silicon substrate and the formation of silicon oxide, that is interface trap charges QIT, your fixed oxide charges, that is QF, then oxide trap QOT, and mobile, those are free with the ions, that is QM, right? Now the another important topic of this oxidation is growth kinetics. So in this growth kinetics, what we are seeing is, we have seen that this is your silicon substrate, this is your silicon substrate, then your oxide layer, and the layer which is left outside here, you can say that is with the interface of some gaseous form, right? So there are three kinds of interfaces are there while forming your oxide layer. So in this there is some oxidant which are moving from here to here, and then here to your, from oxide to your silicon. So these movement we are going to study in this. And growth kinetics is that kinetics means how they are moving from here to here, and what are the changes, what are the values they are getting while moving from different phases. So that we are going to study here, right? So this growth kinetics is explained using the Deal and Grooves model. This is the name of the model which will explain the different values of these oxidant concentration, right? So in this these are basically your three, you can say, interfaces, and this is represented by C asterisk, this is by CS, then C0, Ci and H. Here the flux is F1, here the flux is F2, and this is F3. Flux means whatever the concentration of element you are taking from particular area to the particular area, so that is creating some kind of flux. So that is flux. So flux is F1 is proportional to the difference between the oxidant concentration here. Initially your concentration at this point, right? Initially it is at this point C star, then it moved to the oxide interface, and it is represented by CS, and then some this is in the transition phase, some got stable, so they are represented by CO, and those CO will go to the Ci, that is I have mentioned here, right? So these I have three fluxes I have shown. So we are going to find out the value of each and every flux, and with using these values we have to find the concentration values of this CO and Ci, right? So we have to use such derivation to get this value. So initially what is happening is, when this flux such kind of like movement is there, that C star is moving to CS, so it is creating some flux. So that flux is basically what? That flux is directly proportional to C star, the concentration which is at gas phase, minus CS, the concentration which is at this interface, right? Oxide and gaseous interface, that is CS. So this can be write this is equal to, this is directly proportional sign, so we have to replace it, and can we write this F1 is equal to Hg C star minus CS, right? So this Hg is what I have written here. So this Hg is gas phase mass transfer coefficient, right? Then afterwards we have to use Henry's law. So Henry's law is what? It is saying that C naught, this CO is the concentration which is at this oxide layer, right? This is your CO. So the concentration which is at your oxide layer, oxide interface. So this is equal to HPS. So CO is equal to HPS, right? So what is this? HPS, CO is your concentration at this interface, HPS, PS is your partial pressure at this interface, right? And H is a constant, Henry is constant. Then we will find value of C star. So C star is what? That is, I have written C is equal to HPG. So again, H is your Henry's constant and PG is, means that concentration which is at this gaseous phase is directly proportional to the partial fraction. Means whatever C concentration is there is directly proportional to the partial fraction, this Henry's law say. So according to our model, we have modified that C naught, which CO, which is at the oxide interface, that is equal to HPS, because these are directly proportional, so we are replacing proportionality sign with the H, and this the same at the gaseous phase, C star is equal to HPG, right? So these are the two things. First we have we have used flux F1, and then we have used Henry's law. Afterwards we have used ideal gas law. What ideal gas law say? Ideal gas law say that your this C star, your concentration is equal to Pg upon Kt, right? So that means whatever concentration you are having at particular phase, there must be some kind of partial, some kind of difference in temperature, some kind of constant. I have written this K by Boltzmann constant, and T is the temperature. So some kind of temperature is also there. So he has said this using the ideal gas. I have shown that C star is equal to Pg upon Kt, and similarly your Cs is equal to Ps upon Kt, right? So these are the three steps. Afterwards we have to replace equation 1. So equation 1 is this is your equation 1. So we have to replace value, and we will put the value of C star, we will put the value of CS, and finally we will get that F1 is equal to, this F1 is equal to H C star C0. So H is a constant. So I have replaced these all are constant values. Hg, H, Kt, all are constant values. So I have replaced this whole by a single constant H, right? Then the equation which I have shown by 2, this is your the equation I have shown in the first and the second. They are like, I have changes the value by using the ideal gas law, and that law I have used, and the equation 2 has been formed, right? Then in the second, the oxide layer, there is some kind of diffusion is there. Means this is your, you can say F1, this is F2, and same your F3, and this is your CS, right? So some kind of diffusion is there when your concentration are moving. Now concentration has arrived here at this interface. Now we have to use another flux, and we have to try to transit it from this to this layer, this particular interface. So we will be using F2, flux 2 will be used. So flux 2 is written by using the Fick's law, which says that it is directly proportional to the concentration, which is actually here CO minus Ci, right? So this D is your diffusion, is some kind of diffusion is there as the oxide layer is formed. So diffusion of oxygen particles are getting inside your silicon. So this is used by D, and small d is basically the, you can say, the oxide thickness. So at F2 we are having this particular expression that F2 is equal to D C0 minus Ci upon D. So this I have mentioned here, right? So D is your diffusion constant, then D oxide thickness, Ci is your oxidant concentration. Then what is this? We got the value of F1, we got the value of F2. Now what is this F3? F3 is simple, your Ci is here, right? So that means, can we write F3 is directly proportional to Ci? Means whatever concentration we are having here at this interface, it is same the whatever the flux we need. So flux we need at the third interface is F3 at the silicon interface, and the concentration is Ci. So it is directly proportional. So we can write, we can replace this and we can write F3 is equal to Ks Ci. Clear? So this is, I have written that Ks is the rate constant. Now at the steady state condition, these are the three interfaces. So these are in particular state. So at steady state, these three values of flux are equal. F1 is equal to F2 is equal to F3. So initially we will equate F1 and F3. So we got F1 value is this, right? And F3 value is this. So using equation 2 and 4, I have mentioned this F1 and this F3. So we will get the value of C0, because here is C0 and here is Ci. So we will get value of C0, which is in terms of your C star and your Ci. So this I have mentioned using equation number 5. Now, since we are using this state F1 is equal to F2 is equal to F3, initially we have used F1 is equal to F3. Now we will be using F2 is equal to F3, right? So F2 is what? F2 is the same. F2 is represented by equation 3 and F3 is this, equation number 4. So using equation 3rd and 4th, you will get F2 is this and F3 is Ks Ci. So when you equate, you will get such relation. Means you have to equate and you have to just change the values from LHS to RHS and you will get the expression like this. Like this you will get the expression, right? So now what I have done is I have used Ci upon C star, and this whole term will go in the denominator part, and in the numerator we are left with dH. So I have divided this whole equation with the dH. So when I divide this whole equation by dH, so this dH will get cut and above this you will get this equation. So this relation is between Ci, the concentration Ci and the concentration C star. So Ci is what? Ci is the concentration which is at your silicon interface, and C star is the concentration which is at the you can say the gaseous phase, when initially is that is about to transit phase. So using equation 6 again, so equation 6 is the same when we have equated F2 and F3. So this equation we have to use again to create your expression in a more easiest way. So I have used equation 6 again, and then the equation is this, D bracket CO minus Ci whole upon D small d, that is your thickness, that is equal to Ks Ci. So when we equate this, we will get this relation, right? So this relation is CO is equal to Ci 1 plus D upon capital D Ks. So this Ci we have to replace using equation 7, right? So here we got the value of 7, so we will replace this using this, and putting this we will get the value Ci from equation this, and this is your final value which we need to learn in this growth kinetics. So this is a very important derivation which I have tried to make in a easiest way. So I hope today's lecture is clear to you, and you can able to answer what is the purpose of oxidation, the significance of oxidation which I told, the different type of oxide charges are there, 4 oxide charges are there, QOT, QIT, QIM, QIF. So these are the 4 charges that you can tell. thermal oxidation process. In this, there are two types of process: dry oxidation and wet oxidation. Then we have Deal and Moole's model, that is for growth kinetics. So these all topics are very important. So I think this is clear to you, hopefully. Thank you. Jai Hind.